Welcome to Attenuation, a weekly podcast where two friends come together to drink beer, discuss beer styles and trends, and just generally ruminate on the meaning of life, aka beer. If you enjoy your time with us, we invite you to become a weekly listener and subscribe to the podcast. Without further ado, here is this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to episode 55 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Stephen.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fantastic.
Yes. Freshly returned from your trip?
Yep, freshly back from California, going to Russian River's Pliny the Younger release. It's pretty awesome.
And we're going to talk all about that as that's our topic today. But, of course, before we get into that, we have to do our favorite segment of the podcast, and that's drinking beer. So I'm super lucky. I guess I should introduce the segment, but basically I introduce my beer, do some nose notes, I pass it over to Steven to do the same, and then we do tasting notes as well.
All right.
But what I was going to say is I'm very fortunate. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend this trip. We have some personal things that are going on in my family, so I wasn't able to attend, but Steven was very generous in his gifts, as he always is, and he brought me a ton of beer, including beers off my white whale list. So
I did a lot of drop-offs at your house.
Yeah, multiple drop-offs at my house. So I was feeling very blessed for our friendship, and thank you so much for bringing things over. It's not the best time for me right now, so I really appreciate that, and I'm going to be drinking one of the many beers you brought me today, so I'm excited.
All right, cool.
So, sorry, a little bit of a love fest, but I had to put that in there. Okay, so today I'm very excited to be trying Russian River Brewing. So I think this is a play on, they have a Defenestration in IPA, but this one is particularly sold where all the profits are going to go to Ukrainian humanitarian efforts. So the can is awesome. It's like the Ukrainian flag, and they're throwing Putin out of the window. Because doesn't defenestration mean like the act of throwing something out the window?
Yeah, throwing someone out the window.
Yeah.
A person.
What a specific word.
I know, right? It also means to remove from power, I think, but the informal use is throwing someone out the window. Yeah, I love that it's like a little baby Putin in a diaper.
Yes, he has a diaper on. So super cool. I'm very excited to try this one. You tried this, right?
Yeah, I drank this last night actually.
Okay, cool.
I poured it. I ended up having to share it with my wife. I always let her try stuff, and then she's like, "Ooh, keep that close to me."
Oh, this smells unbelievable. Oh, sorry, I gotta do the color first. Oh, it's a tiny bit opaque, really yellow. A very lighter straw color. Intense, super vigorous head. But what I noticed the second I poured it is there's a lot of nice aromas coming off of it. Like, oh man, mango, guava, orange, melon, just really intense tropical and fruit flavors or smells. And a little bit of yeast, I smell a little bit of yeast and little malty smells as well. Interesting. I hope some of these flavors carry through, or some of these aromas carry through over into the taste.
Awesome. A little background on that. So they brewed 2 beers for Ukraine. They did that one, and then they also did one. Now the name is eluding me, but basically there's a brewery in Ukraine called Pravda Brewing, and they shut down because of the war, and so that they could use their bottling facility to make Molotov cocktails.
Oh, intense.
Yeah. So they also put out a call to breweries around the world to make a beer, and they sent out a recipe of theirs, and they said, make this beer and sell it and send us the proceeds. And so Russian River brewed that beer as well. So they had both the Defenestratsiya and I think it's called Hovto or something like that. I can't remember. It's like a kind of a hopped golden ale.
Nice. I didn't know about that one. That's such a cool story.
Yeah, so they brewed both those beers with 100% of the proceeds going to Ukraine. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. All right, nice.
Yeah. So today I am drinking an old favorite. It's called Monkey Knife Fight. This was originally brewed by Rubicon Brewing in Sacramento. We talked about them. But when they closed, they ended up selling their recipes to Tower Brewing. So Tower Brewing in Sacramento is now brewing Monkey Knife Fight. And I saw in the stores, actually, they had a hazy IPA Monkey Knife Fight. So now they're doing variations on it.
I'm so excited you were able to pick that up.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too.
Because this is like a really important beer for you on your beer journey.
Yeah, just one of the first pale ales that I really liked.
Now I'm curious, do you have any information going into this? How faithful the recipe is? Or...
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is very similar to yours, kind of golden, but with a little bit more of an orange hue to it. But a nice vigorous head, a nice effervescence coming up through it. Very clean smell, nice like bready yeast. So nice maltiness with just like a hint of citrus on the nose, maybe a little orange, tangerine, and then maybe just a little bit of a hot bitterness to it. But very clean smelling, like fresh bread.
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right, I'm excited about this one.
All right, cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Okay, this is not what I was expecting, but it's good. And also, it just gave me like flashbacks to being at Russian River. I don't know why. It's something about just the way this beer tastes. It's just
I had the same thought
true.
when I drank it. It was like, oh, this is distinctly Russian River.
Yeah, I can't put my exact finger on it, but I just felt like I was back in the tasting. I just like had this visual image of the whole tasting flight in front of me and just thinking about their beers. But it's got like a citrus lemon pine entrance, and then it's a little bit of like herbal, peppery, that little grass, and then you get malt, and then a tiny bit of like funky yeast. But it's really clean too. And the funny thing is like, which I don't always say this about like an IPA, but it's like refreshing. I don't know. It's like I just want to like immediately after you take a sip, you just want to take another sip. If that makes sense. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So definitely thumbs up. It's a good one.
Awesome. Yeah, I like I said, I drank it last night. I enjoyed it very much. So
yeah, super good. How was your Monkey Knife Fight?
It's really good. So it's kind of follows the nose with this sort of really nice malty sweetness, bready sweetness, really nice sort of fresh baked bread flavors, and then just follows with this nice sort of earthy floral hops, hop flavors, not super complex, just a nice like slightly perceived bitterness at the end, and just a nice smooth beer. It's 5.6%. I think I forgot to mention that, but yeah, probably hovering around the 30 to 40 IBU range. So just a nice manageable bitterness with some nice sort of floral hop and maybe just a tiny bit of citrus, but that just like basic hop flavors, hop bitterness with a nice sweet malty backbone. So yeah, really good. Very classic English pale ale style. I think I realize why I like this. You know what I should put this up against is Sierra Nevada.
Oh, just
their pale ale. The pale ale. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting to see.
Nice. Did it take you back at all?
I don't know. Not like the Russian River did to you, but
yeah.
It's been a long time since I had the Monkey Knife Fight, so the original.
Yeah. That's so cool, though. I'm glad it lives on, even though it's at a different brewery. That's pretty cool.
Yes. I'm glad it's still being brewed. Keep the Sacramento tradition alive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So thumbs up.
Yes, thumbs up.
Okay, double thumbs up day. That always means it's going to be a good episode. We're both happy with our beers.
I'm starting to try and appreciate beers that I feel like I could drink casually. I pulled out a Anderson Valley Cherry Goza that was in the back of my fridge, and I just popped that, drank that the other night. I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Just like it's so smooth, it's so good.
All their Gozas are amazing.
Yeah, So this would definitely fit into that category. It's not blowing me away by any means, but this would be a really good beer to drink just casually.
Mm-hmm.
Another beer I'm like hooked on right now casually is Yingling.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
It's such a solid beer.
People swear by it.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this, like local place. It's a bunch of food trucks. It has an outdoor bar and stuff, and they mostly have lagers, other than Pint House Electric Jellyfish. They have like one stout, I think, on tap, but everything else is lagers. So I tend to just get Yingling when I'm there, and it's like I'm starting to actually really like it. Like, oh, I want to drink this all the time.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Good. It's nice, good, solid, malty beer. Like the way beer should taste.
Yeah,
the way the English wanted beer to taste.
Right. Well, and it's like the essence of it, right? Like all of that style, but
yeah, for sure.
Nothing, no fancy flourishes, no cereal additions.
No heavy fruitings. No.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So that was our drink and beer segment. Next, we have postscripts and beer news. Postscripts is when we fix or follow up on items from previous episodes. And news is obviously just news. But I have an overdue postscript because I didn't listen to the episode and then I just listened to it and realized, oh.
This is postscripting the postscript, right?
Yes. I was supposed to update you guys on, we were talking about Instagram locations, and I had said I watched it was about a motel, so on Netflix, but I couldn't remember. So the original hotel is called the June Motel, and it's just very famous as an Instagram destination. So people will go stay in the hotel, and all the rooms are kind of made up in a way that they make good Instagram shots, I guess. I don't know. I'm too old for this. But they had their reality TV show on Netflix about they're buying and building a second location. So they're like renovating an old motel. So it was fun to watch because they ran into a bunch of problems that they had to overcome and try and stay in budget. And that stuff's kind of interesting to me. It's like crossover of like small business owner with like kind of giving some insight into what goes into building up a new location like that, and reaffirms that I'm not wired for that type of behavior. It gives me anxiety just watching them like go over budget and run into all these problems they didn't anticipate. But it's a cool documentary, and yeah, apparently it's just an Instagram location. Like the whole point of going to the motel, obviously it's a small vacation and you relax, and this one's like on a beach, but a big part of the draw is you take pictures there and put them on social media. So
yeah, I think I mentioned, but I didn't know what it was called. It's the Museum of Ice Cream in Austin.
Oh, okay.
And same thing. I mean, it's not an actual museum of ice cream. It's just a bunch of like Instagrammable rooms with like big sprinkle props and stuff. Yeah.
It makes interesting pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's super expensive.
to actually go?
To go, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing with this place. I looked up there because I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. It'd be kind of cool to stay there, like just because you saw the whole construction of the location. And then I looked up their room rates, and I was like, yeah, right. Like, I could go stay in like a 5-star hotel for that price.
Yeah, we have a ton of glamping places around Austin, or like outside of Austin in the hill country, and they, people will do TikToks on like looking for a place to glamp in Austin. Like, look at these places. And as soon as there's a TikTok about it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not affordable. And every time I look at, because it's the really cool like outdoor cabin things, but they're always like weird looking or fancy, and they have like outdoor spas and stuff. And then you look them up and it's like $1,200 a night. You're like, really? I can stay like
right?
I can stay at like the best hotel in like New York City for that.
And eat at a Michelin star restaurant after. Like
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Stay in the woods in a cabin for $1,200.
For $1,200.
Because it looks cool. I don't know.
We're getting old, Steven.
Yep, old and cynical.
We don't connect to the youth. And they're 12. Now, there's nothing wrong with glamping, but
no, glamping is cool.
I love glamping, but usually we've stayed in like those little cabins, and it's like $90 a night, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, but, like more like a regular hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, and you split it with a couple friends, and It's totally worth it. I'm just not. I don't like sleeping in a tent. So. My wife does, but so we usually compromise where we'll do. She likes to have at least one night in the tent, and then I beg her for the cabin for the rest of the trip. Yeah.
Yeah, we slept in a tent, backpacking, and.
Oh, we cowboy camped. That's where you have no tent and backpacking, and that was the first and last time I ever did that.
That's true. We didn't bring tents, did we?
Yeah, you were like, it'll be fine, and I trusted you, and I was not. It was not fine. Because what happens is your face freezes. So then you put your face under your sleeping bag, and then you wake up an hour later because you're like boiling hot, sweating, and you just repeat that until it's morning.
And you're like, is the sun ever going to come up? Because this is terrible. It's like the longest night ever.
It's the longest night of your life. So yeah, give me a little cabin. That's what I want.
Yeah, I'm not young enough for that anymore.
All right, cool. So that was my postscript, and then nice. I think you have a couple of interesting news segments for us.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like the same news segment we just had over and over again because they keep producing news, but Modern Times is now being forced by the courts to find a buyer. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a weird dynamic because it's employee owned, or it's like partially employee owned. So there's a lot of questions about how it's going to affect the people that, partially own the brewery. And I don't know. It's very complicated. Modern Times seems to be going on as with business as usual in terms of brewing beer and selling beer, and they seem to think that this doesn't mean the end of Modern Times. It's just somebody else is going to have to come in and buy it from them. But they're about $16 million in debt.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of that is just that they expanded quickly in the pandemic, so it was sort of
it's just horrible timing.
Yeah, bad timing. So yeah, we'll see how that ends up, see if it's their demise or maybe somebody picks them up and saves them. The other one is Stone. So we reported on the Stone Molson Coors lawsuit they had won. Well, 2 weeks after they win that, they get sued by Sycamore Brewing for copyright infringement because Stone used this Keep It Juicy. They have a hazy IPA called Keep It Juicy. And the logos are eerily similar.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's
eerily.
It's pretty remarkable. But I again, maybe it's purely coincidence. I mean, it seems silly that any brewery would be like, oh yeah, let's make our hazy Keep It Juicy, and we'll make our logo look exactly like theirs. Why would you do that? So
makes no sense.
Either you just don't know that beer exists and you make it, and it just happens that the logos look similar. I don't know. Or maybe who you contracted out to make I don't know. Do they make their own logos?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe there's they sell had the same marketing company or something. Design,
maybe
the same logo or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I don't know who designs their logos, so that's actually an interesting idea. But no, they are eerily similar, and so I think they've got a pretty good leg to stand on. So Stone's gonna have to use some of their winnings from Molson Coors.
That's so funny. They're gonna get in trouble for the same thing they sued for. Yeah.
I would hope they don't put up much of a fight because they would look like pretty big hypocrites.
Yes.
Because it's legitimate. I mean, they are super similar. So.
They should just apologize and settle. Yeah.
That's our advice to Stone. If you're listening, our official advice is apologize and settle.
Yep, and that's not legal advice. That's just two non-educated,
random craft beer podcasters who are sick of talking about Stone Brewing every week.
Yeah, pretty much. We need new news.
Stop making beer news.
And then
any press is good press, I guess, for Stone.
Hey, yeah. Next time I go to the grocery store, I'll be thinking about Stone when I'm in the beers.
We're talking about them, so
yeah.
Could be
and
worse.
Then I think we also talked about it before we started recording, but it sounds like some of the tours are open again.
Yes. I'm claiming full responsibility for this. Since I manifested it on my beer bucket list, on the beer bucket list episode, that I wanted to go back to New Belgium in Fort Collins and do the tour there. It is now open.
Perfect.
Back open, yep. And Also, at Pliny the Younger release, they ended up opening the tour back up there too, just in time for that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
The tours can be so much fun. So I'm glad they're doing those again.
Oh yeah, yeah, so great.
Cool. Well, I guess that will take us to our main topic.
All right.
And we want to hear all about your exciting experience.
It was very exciting. It was kind of fun, actually. On my airplane trip to California, I edited the podcast on my laptop, which was really nice. It was a good way to spend the 3 hours on the plane. It was very productive.
Nice.
I'm never that productive on the airplane. I have this weird thing where I get to the airport and I'm like, oh man, I didn't download anything on my phone. And then I'm like quickly going through Netflix trying to find stuff to download on the airport Wi-Fi, which may or may not be fast enough to download episodes of anything that I want to watch. So I might end up getting like 1 or 2 episodes of something, and then when I get on the plane, I'm like, I don't want to watch any of that.
That is too funny.
Every single time. But not this time because I knew that I had a podcast to edit on my way. So yeah, so that was fun. I felt like you ever see somebody working on the airplane and you're like, man, it must be important.
Yeah, that's what I think. Or like they work too hard. Yeah.
Yeah, they work. Yeah, they work too hard. That's awesome. So yeah, I got to feel like one of those people for a day. And then I got in. I was able to hang out with some friends at Blue Note Brewing in Woodland, which is a great local brewery.
Did you drink blood on the tracks?
I did not, actually.
How dare you, sir?
I know. I drank Hopamine. I'm more of a Hopamine fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Hopamine Pale Ale more than the Blood on the Tracks. The second beer I got there was a hazy. It was called Storm Area 51, I think. Hazy IPA. It was good too. So not a fruity hazy IPA. Very like kind of dank and grassy.
Interesting.
Yeah, not usually the flavors you get out of a hazy IPA, but it was good. So yeah, I got to hang out at Blue Note a little bit. Then I went to one of the good grocery stores. Well, I brought you some Round Table Twists first.
Yes, and you had your first Round Table in like 5 years, I think you said.
Yeah, it's been a long time, so I smashed a lot of twists that night.
They're so good.
And that ranch is just unbelievable. So, yeah. So that was fun. Brought you some of those and some beer. And then I went to one of my favorite grocery stores for beer. That's where I picked up this monkey knife fight, actually. Honestly, I was like looking through the aisle and I just was like, well, I could easily spend like $150 on beer right here, but I'm not going to do it because they had a beer from Alvarado Street Brewing in Monterey called Contains No Juice. It's like $25 for a 4-pack. Yeah. I wonder what that beer rates on Beer Advocate.
I just looked it up. It's a 95.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a very good one. So I'll have to wait and see if I can get that as a single somehow.
Yeah, it's funny. The number one comment on the reviews is $25.99 for a 4-pack. Yeah,
it's crazy.
That is like some expensive beer.
Yeah, so they had that. They had a ton of good stuff that I wanted to buy, but I just got the monkey knife fight. They have a bunch of Russian River stuff there actually too, but I figured since I was going there the next day, I wasn't going to buy anything from the grocery store. That seemed kind of silly.
No, that makes sense. It's going to be much fresher if you get it from the brewery as well.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, I got up. So I was on Austin time anyway, so I woke up at like 4 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
Which was good because then I went to my favorite donut shop, got some donuts. Then I...
Wait, what is your favorite donut shop?
Donut Star.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. It's legit. They're really good. Their maple bars are unbelievable.
Is that your go-to? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll get one in your honor.
Usually apple fritter too, but they didn't have any apple fritters that early.
Ah, okay.
So I headed out from there towards Russian River, which is about an hour and 45-minute drive from Woodland. So I had a good little drive. Ended up getting there around, I guess it was 7 o'clock. So yeah, I got to the donut shop around 5, and then from there it was almost 7 when I got to Russian River. So I parked. The line didn't look too long, so I parked, took a few pictures, and then walked up to get in line. Honestly, it felt like we were about where we got into line.
Oh, really? There was that many people?
Yeah, it like when I drove up, it didn't look that bad, and then as I like got in line, I thought, oh, this might not be good. So the idea getting there early is that they're gonna open the doors about it opens at 11, but they're gonna open the doors around 10:30,
Mhm.
start seating people in the restaurant, and the idea is to be in that first seating. So people were saying that it holds about 200 people in there. So you want, like, if you're one of the first 200 in line, there give or take a few, you'll probably get in that first seating, because there is a time limit for how long you can be in the brewery. It's 2.5 hours now. They shortened it, actually. I think it used to be 3. They shortened it to 2.5. I think they found that was actually the time most people spent in there was about 2 to 2.5 hours.
Gotcha.
So they shortened it, try and get a few more people in. But if you don't make it into that first seating, then
You gotta wait
then
2.5 hours.
you know it's gonna be it's gonna be at least about 2 hours before people start, enough people start trickling out to seat more people. So when you get in line, at some point, not right away, but at some point, the guy comes down the line and stamps your hand. That way you can't have people join your party late.
Oh, I see.
Like, you can't
Yeah.
hold positions in line for other people that arrive later. So when the guy was coming down stamping hands, he was also counting people, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are good. You guys are gonna get in." So that was reassuring. But yeah, I had like 3.5 hours to kill. There was a huge group in front of me, about 12, and a huge group behind me, about 14 people. So they were like very involved in themselves and their big group. It's kind of like a hard dynamic to crack into in terms of like starting to talk to people. So I got some really good Wordle advice. They were all playing Wordle, and they were all sharing all their tips on how to get Wordle and what's the best first word. And I was super annoyed listening to these.
Not a big Wordle fan.
So I'm playing now because my wife would just text message her like results every time, like not the
Yes.
like how she did. She just messaged me that every day. She's like, "I'm gonna get you to play," and I was like, "I guess I'll play." I don't know.
So my wife plays Octordle. Do you know what that is?
No.
You have to do 8 words simultaneously.
Oh my gosh! I was gonna say it's an 8-letter word.
No, it's like I barely even understand what I'm looking at when she shows me. But you have like a set number of guesses. I think you have 10. But when you guess on one word, you're guessing on all 8 positions. So,
oh my goodness!
I don't know. She's very good.
That sounds terrible.
It's horrible. She tried to get me to do it once, and it broke my brain. I didn't like it.
I got some good Wordle advice in line, but once the line moved, I mostly just spent 3.5 hours watching YouTube videos and TikToks, which was actually pretty fun. And the weather was beautiful. I mean, it was like just a tad bit on the cold side, but all I had was a t-shirt and a flannel on, and I was fine. So it was like mid-50s. It was really nice. And then the sun came up over the brewery, and it was very nice. But as the line started to move, Vinny, the owner, he came out and he was sort of talking to people down the line. And that was the advantage of being sort of a single person in between 2 large groups, is that he didn't really want to go up to these big, large groups and talk to them because it's just too many people. So he kind of singled me out, and we got to talk a little bit. And I told him I had come in from Austin, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Pint House Pizza is awesome."
Oh, that's so cool.
He's like, "We've been trying to do a collaboration with them, or I think Pint House has been trying to do a collaboration with Russian River," and he said they've just been super busy and haven't been able to do it, but they want to do that. So I was like, "Please, yes, do it."
Ooh, I will definitely want to drink whatever they collaborate on.
Yeah. So that was cool. Got to talk to him for a minute. And then not too long after that, I was up at the front doors. And the nice thing about being alone is that they ask you where you want to sit, because they have like table seating, but they also have some like seating around the fire, which is kind of cool. And then they have the bar seating. So she asked me what I wanted, and I was like, "Oh, the bar, please," because we've had 2 awesome experiences at the bar.
Yep.
It's the best.
When we go next year, we're going to the bar. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have full attention of the bartender.
Yes. You can, yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, you can get stuff as quickly as you want. Yeah, it's really nice. So I went to the bar, about 4 hour wait, because I got into the bar at like 11:12 or something. So something like that. He time stamped me, so he knew when I needed to get out. So yeah, about 4 hours of waiting. I mean, I sound like from their social media posts and stuff that was pretty standard, especially for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little shorter on the weeknights. Or the weekdays, and then the weeknights, I guess, are really nice. Like if you go sort of after 5, like it becomes about a 45-minute wait. So
okay,
yeah, I think I'll try to just plan it and do like a weekday next time. And then
yeah, that could be nice.
Feel like I have to wait. You don't feel like you have to get there 4 hours early. So, but yeah, sitting at the bar was really nice. A couple seats down, there was another woman. She was by herself, and she needed to charge her phone, and I had an outlet like at the seat next to me. So she was like, "Hey, can I come over and sit there and charge my phone?" I was like, "Oh yeah, totally." So she came down. She ended up being super cool. Cheryl,
oh, nice. You made a friend.
I told her I'd give her a shout out on the podcast. So Cheryl, if you're listening, it was awesome. She was so cool, so friendly. It was funny. I was like, oh, like no one, you didn't have anyone to come with, or we were kind of talking about why we were alone, and she was like, yeah, my husband thinks I'm absolutely crazy for coming down here and waiting
in line for 4 hours,
waiting that long in line. So she was like, I'll just go by myself then, and he's like, okay. So she's been coming to multiple. She had actually gone to the Sound of Rosa location the Friday night prior.
Oh, cool.
So she'd already gone there. So she got 2 bottles of Younger there, and then was going to get another 2 bottles.
Oh, perfect.
There. I know. Pretty sweet. I almost thought about doing that Friday night. I was like, maybe I should just drive down there and
just to get the 2 bottles.
Yeah, I was like, maybe it won't be so long. But yeah, she was super cool. And then Aaron was our bartender. He was awesome too. They always are so awesome. And I even asked him, I was like, do you like working? Like, honestly, like, he's like, oh, this is the best place to work. Like,
nice.
He loves it. So I always usually get that response from people that work there, how good they have it. So I got my first Pliny the Younger pour of 2022, and it was awesome. I mean, it's kind of funny because there's so much hype, and like so much build up, so much weight. You get in there and they just take the pull tab off your wristband and put it in front of you, and you're like, oh, this is it. This is the beer. This is the beer I came for. Yeah. And you're like, okay, I gotta do everything. I gotta smell this. I gotta take this all in. You can't just start drinking it.
Yeah, you feel obligated to take your time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But anyway, great fruit pithiness, that distinct Russian River smell, just a nice citrus to it. This beer is 10.25%, by the way.
It's crazy.
IPA. But crisp, clear, great citrus and grapefruit notes, and this amazing dry bitterness that it doesn't make even any sense that this beer is 10.25%. It is so smooth, so easy to drink. Even after you get 10-ounce pours, so you get 3 10-ounce pours of Pliny the Younger, and then you can order anything else. But after one, I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this already.
Yes, at 10%, you will. Yeah,
it comes on quick. So I did 2 of those. So I drank my first 2 Pliny the Younger pours, and it was kind of nice, that second one, to just pick it up and just start drinking it. I didn't feel as obligated to dissect it after the first.
Yeah.
And then I had to drink a beer for Jason. And so,
yes. Did you figure out if they had something old?
Well, so first off, I had to drink Supplication, which is the brown ale that they age with cherries.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's my favorite.
If I was gonna drink a Jason beer, that would be it.
Thank you, sir. You drank one in spirit, spirit of us being there. Yeah.
Yeah. And that beer is just so good. There's just this great Dennis quality to it. It's just earthy with that great cherry, and then the brown notes of sweetness, and just a tiny bit of that vinegar taste, that funky vinegar.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
That was my gateway into sours, was those.
I love that was the gateway.
I know it's kind of like a difficult path, I guess, but
Yeah.
I just remember the first time I tried all the Asians, basically consecration, supplication. I don't remember what the four were in the first tasting I had, but I was just obsessed with them. Like from the moment I tasted them, it's all I wanted to drink.
No, I mean it was sort of my gateway into sours too. It was really I don't know exactly what the timeline was, but definitely Ocho Vase from Sierra Nevada and the Supplication Consecration beers from Russian River were the first sours I ever had. So
they're good ones.
That's a good way into craft beer right there. So yeah, I drank that, and then I was like, okay, now I need to go to the cellar.
Yes.
What's coming out of the cellar? This was the most exciting thing. So they had a couple, I think it was a consecration and maybe a supplication, and they were just like 7 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, maybe I'll do one of those. But they also had this one called a refraction.
I never heard of that.
They didn't have anything written about it. So I asked Aaron, and he was like, oh, so this is a really cool beer. So what they did was a collaboration with Brooklyn Brewery, which...
Oh, really?
Which, as soon as he said that, I was like, okay, that's what I'm drinking.
You were in.
I'm like, yeah.
We did a deep dive. Didn't we do a deep dive on Brooklyn Brewery?
Yes, didn't we?
We talked about them in depth, so I'm assuming it was a deep dive.
Yeah. It's hard to keep track. We have so many episodes. We've been doing this for so long. It's hard. So Brooklyn Brewery, as soon as I heard that, I was kind of sold on it, but he explained that I guess the brewmaster Garrett Oliver, I think is his name, is there. Him and Vinny are good friends, and so Vinny made a batch of beatification.
Okay.
So they did the wort in the cool ship, fermented it overnight, and then they carefully, in a refrigerated car, transported the wort to Brooklyn.
Oh my goodness.
And then in Brooklyn, they blended it with fresh wort that Brooklyn Brewery had made, and then put it into oak barrels.
Wow.
And aged it for over a year in oak. Then they bottled it and bottle conditioned it. So I was like, yep, that's what I want. 100%.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
And Aaron goes, well, just so you know, it's a 750 milliliter bottle.
Oh, no.
So this is a wine size bottle. I was like, well, bring it out, pour me some, pour Cheryl some, and then just ask up and down the bar.
Work your way down the bar.
Yeah, whoever wants some, give him. And he's like, I like that. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, he poured me about maybe 3 or 4 ounces, and Cheryl, and then just was walking up and down, telling people, hey, this guy bought this. He wants to share it with y'all, and it was cool because one of the couples was just a couple seats down. He wasn't really a sour beer drinker. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, just try it. And, you might like it. And yeah, he was like, oh yeah, that is good. This is cool. So.
Wow, that's awesome. You converted another person to sour.
Yep. So yeah, it was just a really fun time. And of course, I'm like 3 beers in at that point.
So you're in that great mood. Yeah.
So it was very fun. Oh, also, by this time I got my burger, which like their food there is fantastic. So anyway, I had this massive burger that I was eating as well that was amazing. And then I got my last Pliny pour. At this point, we're coming up close to like 2 hours. And I ordered... now I'm feeling really good. So they have an ice cream sundae that's like giant. It is like the biggest bowl. Like 3 people could probably eat this thing, if not more. Wow. It's just like tons of whipped cream and nuts and chocolate sauce all over it. So anyway, I ordered that, proceeded to eat that whole thing.
Awesome.
And then it was about time to go. So I got my bottles of Younger, which now it's so cool that they're bottling it now. But everyone can get 2 bottles to buy to go if they want. So did that. And then I went to the gift shop on my way out, which is like, when I'm there, I'm like, man, this is such a good system. You get people drunk drunk and then get them into the gift shop, and they like there's just all this fun stuff, t-shirts.
Yeah,
and,
everyone's in a good mood. They're all intoxicated, and then
yeah, of course you have like 4 big refrigerators full of Russian River stuff, like anything you can imagine you want to buy, all the barrel aged stuff, all the sours. In fact, they have I brought you a creek. They had like a barrel series where they made a creek, so that was pretty.
I'm so excited for that one. I'm saving that for. I'll probably drink it on the podcast, but I want to wait maybe for some good news. I don't want to drink it.
Yeah, so I knew you would like that one, so I grabbed that. It was like, I think it's called a small batch series or something, I don't know. And I grabbed a beatification.
Nice. You love that beatification.
Love that beer. So that one I'll have to decide whether I want to drink it or maybe store it away for a while.
I would store it for like at least a year, because remember that this is the one we drank that was like 7 years old, and it was literally the sourest thing I ever tasted in my life. It was so good though.
Yeah, that beer was awesome. Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you a little bit about refraction, I guess I should mention. This is interesting. So this is beatification, but then Brooklyn added their wort and then aged it in oak for a year. It wasn't super sour.
Okay.
Like it was sour, but it wasn't crazy sour. But still that nice like lemon earthiness to it. Almost, yeah, just this like crazy, we always talk about like how the beginning, the middle, and the finish. It was like the finish was sour. It wasn't like sour when you first put it to your lips. But you just got this like nice lemon earthiness, and then like the sour kicked in towards the end. So it was really cool. I enjoyed it for sure. But nothing was like that 7-year-old beatification. That was incredible.
I thought I was gonna like melt my insides.
Oh my goodness. So no, the gift shop of course took all my money. I got beer and shirts, and I got my dog a Pliny the Younger collar. So that
awesome.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. That was Pliny the Younger. I had to drive home still.
Right.
So, and I had to leave the brewery. So it's kind of hard. That was the hardest thing. So I like walked around the grounds for a while, but it was starting to get kind of hot. So it's like I tried to lay down in my car, but it started to spin a little.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like, well, I don't want to lay down right now. So I got back up, walked around, and then I did the self-guided tour.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So what I didn't realize is like the one tour, the actual tour, takes you up one side, and then the self-guided tour takes you to the other side. And what you don't get to is the like sour side and the Abbey Church thing where the cool ship is. You don't get to see that on the self-guided tour, but basically you just get to walk up above the fermenters, look at the open top fermenters and the closed top fermenters, and there's a bunch of like information on the wall and stuff. But I was literally the only one in that hall. So I was like talking to some friends on the phone and on FaceTime drunk, which was really fun. And and then I just I ended up finally like being able to sort of sleep in my car for a while, for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. I don't know how long it was.
Had
it was
to
a
sleep
while.
it off. Yeah.
Yep. And then I woke up and felt good, so drove home.
A successful journey.
Got a nice hike in the next morning.
Where did you go hike?
Did Stebbins Cold Canyon.
It's so much different now after the fires.
So what's crazy is the last time I went on that hike, it had been devastated by the fires.
Okay, so you've seen the change.
Yeah. And then it was actually cool this time because tons of new growth has come in. There's tons of new grass and wildflowers and stuff. So
yeah.
So it's kind of cool because it's like juxtaposition with the like burnt, there's still like burnt tree trunks standing there, but then you have all this like lush green grass growing around it with wildflowers and stuff. So it was actually pretty cool. And they've really done a good job with that. It's such a popular hike now.
Yeah.
That just great signage everywhere and good trail maintenance, and yeah, it's beautiful.
I haven't been for a long time. I feel like we used to do that hike before it was cool.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's totally, yeah. Yep. You do stuff and you're like, oh, this is a cool hike, and then it just gets so popular.
Yeah.
They've had to add. I mean, they never had that second parking area. They had to add more parking because that one little parking area would just get full so fast. So.
Right. Yeah, and this is like you literally just kind of like pull into a dirt.
Yeah, I'm just kind
I remember the first time I went, I was like, "What? Where are we going?" Just like,
Yep. So, I got that in and got a little visit in with Jason's parents, which was really fun.
They were so excited. My mom texted me.
Yep. She's still upset that I moved to Texas, but.
Yeah, she hasn't forgiven you yet.
No. But she was happy that I stopped by to visit. So.
Yeah, they were ecstatic.
And I found Jason an atomic torpedo.
Yes, I was so excited. You got that at the Davis Nugget?
Yeah, I actually had to pee, and so I ran in there real quick to pee, and then I was like, oh, I'll go look at the beers. And a lot of the beers were similar to the Woodland Nugget, so there wasn't anything different. But I saw the atomic torpedo. I was like, oh, I gotta grab one of those. Jason,
we're gonna have to do
on the podcast.
Yeah, we're doing a side by side. I have to go get more torpedo, so maybe in like an episode or two, I'll do the side by side. I'm excited.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a successful Pliny the Younger release. I was really glad I went. I had this like sort of existential crisis while I was in line. Like, what am I doing here? Like, 'cause I was by myself. I was like, was this worth it?
Yeah.
But once I got in and was drinking the beer, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And you get, like I said, the friend I made, Cheryl, she was so cool. And like, you start to realize that there's other people like you that love beer.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell like there's like a lot of groups of people that they just do it because it's cool,
Yes.
But like I don't think they're like as beer nerdy as me, but it's nice to find the other beer nerds. And Aaron, the bartender, we had a really cool discussion about the podcast, and he gave me some recommendations on some other podcasts to listen to too. So
perfect.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was wearing my Attenuation to Beer podcast shirt.
Nice plug in the podcast.
Yeah. Repping the podcast at the Pliny the Younger release. Just really fun. So hope to get there again with you.
Yes, we're going next year for sure. Just your whole recounting of it was giving me memories of when we went like a couple of years ago, and I want to do it again so bad. Just like It's such a fun experience.
I kind of forgotten that I came out and did it with you.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that.
Well, just when you were describing everything, I was having flashbacks to us being in line, and then like the line is slowly moving, and then like how excited you get when you're finally at the front of the line. And you're like, oh, they're gonna seat us, and like I don't know, it's just so fun.
Yep, it's exciting. Yeah, it seems weird to wait that long in line for a beer, but it's worth it.
No, it's fun. It's so fun. It's worth it.
Yep.
You just have to you just realize you're like committing the whole day to it, and once you accept that, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. All right, sir. Well, thanks for reporting back on that.
Yeah.
I got to live vicariously through you. And I'm sure we'll be there again soon.
Well, I brought you a bottle of Pliny the Younger, so you get to drink it this year.
Yeah, I was really mad at you.
Why?
Don't give me this. This is too special.
No, I mean, I got to drink it. You should be able to get to drink it.
Well, you're a very generous person. I will be drinking it. My wife and I will be drinking it together probably. So we appreciate that you showered us with gifts. We're very appreciative. I'm gonna get you back. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's good to wrap the episode. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at contact.attenuation@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram at attenuation.podcast. You can see pictures from Steven's trip up there. But other than that, this has been episode 55 of Attenuation, a beer podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm joined by my best friend since 8th grade, Steven.
That's me.
And we are saying cheers, and we'll see you next week for episode 56.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Attenuation, a beer podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow us on Instagram or Facebook for more fun content. Catch you next week. Cheers!